Okay, so thanks for joining me here. This is one of my favorite topics to go over. In my early days, I had a staffing company in Maryland, and I had that company for 10 years, and I interviewed therapists every single week. And so, one of the things I realized in being a staffer for clinicians throughout the state of Maryland was the office with the most staff won at that game. And so, we really focused on what did it take to get the greatest results in hiring the greatest therapist to work for us. And that does not mean you just go out there and you hire a license with a heartbeat. Because there's so many clinicians out there that are literally just looking for anybody with a license to come in and fill their seat. And so they feel, or they go into the interview process with this idea or this concept that they have to sell their practice. I'm going to be adamant in telling you, do not sell your practice to your potential new hires, to your potential candidates. Do not do that. Your practice should sell itself, and they should be beating your door down to want to work for you. If you break your hiring process up into these 5 phases of hiring, I think you're going to find that you're going to get better staff, and you're always going to be fully staffed whenever you want, and actually have a couple people in the drawer ready to go should you want to expand. The 5 phases of hiring are simply this. What do you say in your ad? What do you say that's going to get the best candidates to call you? Trick number 1 or talent number 1 is always open your ad with a question. Okay? Are you GM's next best financial analyst to join our senior staff of analysts? Are you the therapist who has the greatest manual therapy skills to join our clinical team to provide high quality one-on-one manual therapy to our patients? If you're that candidate, boom, 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 talk more about the practice in the ad. Contact us, whatever. But you must open with a question. Secondly, you need to know where to go with your ads. Right now, what we're finding across the country is obviously the APTA sites of your state really work well. But what also works well is ptjobs.com, therapyjobs.com, Indeed, just to name a few. In some places of the country that I've been, Craigslist is even working well, but not all. So you're going to need to kind of weather that out a little bit, trial and error, and see what works and what doesn't work. But one thing I know for sure is you do not have to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to go on very expensive recruiting sites. So that's number 2, where to advertise. In that phase 2, I'll say this. If you have an opening or if you have 2 openings, it does not hurt to hire a national recruiter to do some recruiting for you. As long as you can negotiate a fixed price on that hire, you should not be paying a percentage of salary. Never, ever, ever would I recommend you go with a recruiter to pay a percentage of salary. So phase 3. Phase 3 is going to be the phone interview. Okay? So now we've placed our ad. We know what to say in our ad and where to go with it. Now we're going to take the phone screen. That should be about a 15-20 minute conversation tops. You're going to set that time up with the applicant by email or text or phone, and you're going to call right on time. And when you call them right on time, you want to check one thing, that they have set aside adequate time for this phone interview. If they say, yeah, I got 5 or 10 minutes, that tells you they did not set aside adequate time. If they say, hey, I have all the time it takes, then you got a candidate who's really interested in speaking with you. So look for that opener right away when you call them. So make sure you ask that question right up front. Then you ask them questions on your phone screen about them. Start with their past. Talk about their past. Talk about their present. Talk about what they want to look for in the future. Let them loosen up and start talking about themselves, because you know as well as I do, every candidate's going to put their best foot forward when you first get on the phone. The more they talk about themselves, the more the real person you're going to see. Phase 4 is interview day. It's a whole process that we teach you throughout your clinic for interview day. It includes your entire staff when this applicant comes in. So I don't have enough time in this video to go through all the details of interview day, but it does include your front desk. It includes a staff therapist and yourself, and the whole interview lineup of questions, the lineup of questions that you need to ask. Again, I have a particular format of that lineup because what you're hiring is you're hiring the person. You're not hiring the resume. Too many people put too much weight on the resume. Look, if they're an ethical person and they got good communication, they're trustworthy, they're great. If not, then you're really going to be paying for a resume. You need to hire the person, okay? And I have much more to share with you about that. Okay, so we're on phase 5, and this is my absolute favorite phase of the hiring process. This is where you can bring about agreement between a potential candidate and yourself. And here's my attitude on it. I look at it like we are the Google of healthcare. Like we are the practice that you want to be a part of. And if you keep that attitude, you will have a much greater chance of hiring that candidate that is absolutely the perfect fit for you. So I've gone through my interview questions, which we can go over in greater detail at a later time. And when you get through those interview questions, I stop and I say to the candidate, so we're at that point in the interview now that it seems to me that you'd be a good fit for our practice. And if you feel that we're a good fit for what you're looking for, if we go through the salary, benefits, the productivity, efficiency, Con Ed, everything that you're looking for here, and we come to an agreement on those terms, would you be able to accept the position now or within the next 24 hours by this time tomorrow? If the candidate says yes, then we move forward on the closing phases, and I simply go over each and every one of those phases with them. If the candidate says no, then I say thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you coming in. I'm glad to have met you. You obviously have, and they'll say something like they're shopping around and they got more interviews to go on. And I'll say you obviously have other interviews to go on. You should absolutely go do that. Find the practice that is the best fit for you. If you find in the process of doing that that we in fact are the best fit for you, go ahead, give me a call, come on back, and I'd be happy to talk to you then. Otherwise, you're going to go through all the salary and benefits and Con Ed and everything else, and they're just going to take that information and guess what? They're going to go around town and they're going to shop it to find the best job, whether they want more money or they want something else. You don't know what it is they're looking for at this point. But if they absolutely say, yes, this is exactly where I want to work, let's work this out, then I go right into my closing. And I have a whole step-by-step process of how you go through salary, benefits, Con Ed, work schedule, everything, and how you can work with them to get them the concessions that they need to make it the best job for them, and also get the concessions in exchange that is going to be the best fit for you. That's the most important thing, and that's the bottom line I have to say on hiring, is that when you get to the end of phase 5, this should be a match that is a good fit and winning for you, and a good fit and allowing them to win as well. So I hope I've answered some questions here. If you have any additional comments, please feel free to just fill them in the box below. I'd happy to answer those by email or phone, whatever works for you. Thank you for your time.